Okay, I'm starting the process.
Pretty exciting.
Okay.
I love learning where other participants live.
We are live.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to, Marvy, I'm going to make you the host.
Thank you.
More, make host. Yes. All right, you are the host, Marvy, and we are live.
And I will screen share.
You need to change your slide to the first one, Marvy.
Okay.
And then I'm going to mute.
You don't need to start there.
No.
Let me try that again. And I will. Sorry, everyone. I just need to clear out from the slide and go to our first slide. That looks better. Here we go. Welcome back to our parent sessions, beginning at the beginning, hosted by the Dyslexia Initiative. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Marvy Hagopian. The purpose of our meetings is to share ways you can support beginning literacy skills at home using a systematic, scientifically proven approach. Today, we continue our discussion on phonological awareness skills. Ashley Roberts is a co-founder of the Dyslexia Initiative. She facilitates our meetings and monitors your comments in the chat box. Ashley, please say hello.
Hi, everyone.
You know, we genuinely enjoy learning where our participants live because we have people participating from all around the world. So if you don't mind, please write your general location in the chat box. Then Ashley will acknowledge your locations. While you're typing, let me introduce our panel of educators. Panel members have joined us to share their expertise and insights. They are administrators and teachers who are well versed in the science of reading, having experienced educators who know firsthand the value of teaching reading based on the science will significantly enhance our experience. Panel members, when I say your name, please say hello so we can see who you are. Today we have Terry. She must be muted. Michelle.
Hi.
And Marilyn.
Hello.
Panel members' bios are on the Dyslexia Initiative website. So Ashley, can you please tell us from where members of our audience are taking part?
I can. We are reaching Melbourne, Alabama, Ontario, London, Newmarket, Minnesota, California, St. Louis, Indonesia, Long Island, New York. I'm always going to say it wrong. Joliet, Illinois. I never say it right. Seneca Falls, New York, and Edinburgh, Scotland so far.
Wow.
That's amazing. Thank you, one and all, for joining us today during these challenging times. Well, let's transition back to our slides. In previous sessions, we have focused on the three cornerstones of beginning reading. Our purpose today is to continue to expand upon cornerstone 2 awareness of the sound structure of language, which is phonological awareness. Children gain an awareness of the sound structure of language in a developmental sequence. In session 8, we began our presentation by defining phonological awareness and gave you basic information about what some of these skills look like. If you missed session 8, you may benefit from watching that meeting. Let's briefly review key ideas we have presented. In earlier sessions, we talked about vocabulary development, prior knowledge, and background knowledge. We also discussed the two aspects of language, meaning and sound structure. Today we're going to present our second meeting on the sound structure of language. We are continuing to explore the systematic progression of a child's ability to detect spoken language, including onset rhymes and rhyming words. Reading researchers concur that a child's ability to develop phonological awareness is a powerful predictor of early reading success. Phonological awareness involves spoken language only. Remember, in our last session, we emphasized that these phonological awareness skills can be performed with your eyes covered. In session 8, we referenced this pyramid to represent the hierarchy of phonological awareness. Phonological awareness begins at the bottom of the pyramid, the simplest level. Recall the first level is about lots of exposure to rhyming and alliteration. Children are listening to and repeating nursery rhymes and alliterative sentences. Each level becomes more complex as we move up the pyramid. When children exhibit enjoyment of rhyming and alliteration, they are ready to detect individual words in sentences. The first two tiers address what parents, caregivers, and preschool teachers can do in the initial stages of a child's life to support the acquisition of phonological awareness skills. After children demonstrate an awareness that our spoken language is made up of words, the next level is recognizing that words can be divided into syllables. When children can detect syllables in spoken words, they can be introduced to even smaller units, onsets and rhymes. Now remember, an onset is the first consonant sound or consonant blend at the beginning of a syllable. The rhyme, spelled R-I-M-E, is the vowel sound and the remaining consonant sounds in the syllable. Notice to the left of this graphic, we added the words can detect and manipulate spoken sounds. Children need to be able to play with sounds, put them together, take them apart, and move them around to say different spoken words. In our last session, we talked about the first 4 levels: listening to and repeating rhymes and alliterative words and phrases, detecting spoken words in sentences, blending and segmenting spoken syllables, and blending and segmenting spoken onsets and rhymes. Even if you joined us last week, it might be worthwhile to watch session 8 again. Understanding these skills and the sequence in which they are taught and learned is that important. We will begin our discussion today at the onset and rhyme level of phonological awareness. In our last session, we watched 2 videos explaining onset and rhyme. Today, we are going to watch a video in which expert teacher Linda Farrell is working with Autumn, a kindergarten student. Autumn is having difficulties with onset and rhyme. Linda Farrell shows us how she helps children blend the onset and rhyme in syllables. So I'm going to stop our slideshow, and I need to remember to share our video. You know, I always enjoy watching Linda Farrell. Here we go.
Autumn, I'm so glad you're here for this lesson. We are going to work on syllables.
Is it letter sound?
And some letter sounds.
Reading expert Linda Farrell has helped thousands of children across the country. Today she'll be working one-on-one with Autumn, who is in kindergarten at Windy Hill Elementary School in Calvert County, Maryland. Ms. Farrell will be helping Autumn with the pre-reading skills that have to do with sounds, what's known as phonological awareness. Autumn needs to understand that most words are composed of individual sounds, like k, ah, and t. And then she needs to learn how to combine those sounds to form a word, like cat. Ms. Farrell starts by seeing if Autumn can blend 2 or 3 spoken syllables into words.
Autumn, I'm going to give you 2 parts of a word, and you're going to tell me what the word is. Watch this. Table. What's the word?
Table.
Oh, you got it. Let's try this one. Computer.
Computer.
Whew. You're so good, I can't even teach you that. You already know syllables. Autumn was a master at that. She could do that beautifully. The next level is onset rhyme. And that means, can you take the first part of the word, everything before the vowel sound, and then take the vowel sound and everything after, and put those together and make a word. So that would be alt. What's the word? All right, let's talk about first sounds. This is a bat.
B, b,
B is the first sound. This is a ball.
b, b.
This is hat. Okay. This is mouse. House. Mop.
Ms. Farrell is making sure that Autumn can isolate the first sound in a word, what's called the onset. If Autumn can do that consistently, then she's ready to start blending onset and rhyme.
Cake. All right. We are now going to put together 2 parts of a word again. I'm going to see if you can tell me what it is.
Syllable.
We just did syllables. We're going to do something called onset rhyme right now. Watch this. This is un. What's this? What's this?
Un.
What happens if I put it together?
Sun.
Let's try this one. Ache.
Ache.
What is it when I put it together?
Ache.
Ache is this part. Watch me. What's this part?
Ache.
This is ache. Can you say ache? You point to each one.
Ache. Ache.
This part's ache. This part is ache. Watch this. Ache.
For a lot of children, blending onset and rhyme is much harder than blending syllables. And that makes sense, says Ms. Farrell.
Syllables are very easy to hear. You can even feel syllables. They have acoustic clues for you. Computer. They break cleanly. When I go and I do sh-ert, I don't really say sh-ert. I say shirt. It's one acoustic clue. Some people's brains just don't get that automatically. Oh, I can break up a syllable into two parts, and we have to teach them. So the way we teach them is by taking the beginning, onset, and rhyme, and we ask them to blend it. Okay, you do it. Go. Make.
Okay. Make.
Okay, so what's this part? What's this part?
Ache.
What's the word?
Make.
Okay, let's try this one. S. Got it? Ick.
Ache.
Say ick.
Ache.
Okay?
Ms. Farrell uses blank pieces of felt to represent each of the sounds. The felt helps Autumn think about parts of words and how she can blend them together, as she'll need to do once she's reading.
Okay, watch me. Let's do this. S. Touch it. S. Ick.
Ick.
And watch this. S. Ick.
Sit.
Can you say, you're saying sit. Say sick.
Sick.
Okay, now what's the word? This is s. Ick. Touch and say.
Ick. Sit.
We'll go back to our slide. Now you probably noticed Linda Farrell paused her onset and rhyme lesson when Autumn was having difficulty. She used a variety of ways to help Autumn succeed in completing this task. She added an important verbal cue, touch and say. She modeled the task again using manipulatives, a felt square that represented the onset and a felt rectangle that represented the rhyme. Then she repeated the task with Autumn. Finally, Autumn attempted the task independently and did it correctly. This is an example of how to provide scaffolding or supports that help ensure a child moves from what she knows, in Autumn's case, syllables, to the next level. Also, there is immense value in working with the child to end the lesson on a positive note. The concept of onset and rhyme is difficult. Linda Farrell will need to continue working on this skill with Autumn in subsequent lessons. This concept of onset and rhyme in a syllable is extremely important for children to grasp. The skill provides the foundation for the next stages of phonological awareness, recognizing rhyming words and completing rhymes. After children can detect, blend, and segment onsets and rhymes, we can help them learn to recognize whether or not words rhyme, spelled R-H-Y-M-E. This task may be difficult for many children. Rhyming words are words that end in the same sounds, plural, such as the at in cat, at in mat, and at in sat. Recognizing rhyming words requires many experiences in which children listen to and repeat rhymes. Again, that's R-H-Y-M-E. With extensive modeling and repetition, children can succeed in learning this challenging and important skill. I reiterate, after children have had extensive experience listening to and repeating rhyming words, we can help them learn how to recognize whether or not words rhyme. For example, children can demonstrate this skill by picking pairs of rhyming words from a choice of 3 different words: hat, dog, bat. Which words rhyme? Researchers have found that rhyming ability is a strong predictor of later reading achievement. Thus, if a child is having difficulty recognizing whether or not words rhyme, it is particularly important to spend more time modeling, which means demonstrating, and having the child practice this skill multiple times. Completing rhymes is even more challenging, but again, with lots of modeling and repeated exposure, most children can complete a rhyme, such as, I have a cat, it sits on a mat. Parents can help promote these two skills by playing rhyming games with their children. The next video shows activities to do with children that helps them recognize whether or not words rhyme, and also how to help them complete rhymes. In the video, the teacher mentions that producing rhymes is the most difficult rhyming task. This is true. However, in our Beginning at the Beginning series, we are not addressing rhyme production at this time. So for that reason, I will be stopping the video when we get to that point. Now let's stop our slideshow and then move to the video. And let's start.
So today I'm going to be talking about phonological awareness. We're going to be talking specifically about rhyming, but at first I wanted to define phonological awareness for you. So phonological awareness is the awareness or the understanding that our language is made up of words, and those words are made up of sounds. The big word for that is phonemes. So phonological awareness is the foundation with which we can teach students phonics. So phonics is when we have a letter, we have a symbol, and we can attach it to a sound. Phonological awareness is just being able to hear and manipulate the sounds in our language. There's no symbol yet involved. Students need to be able to manipulate the sounds within words to be able to use phonics, to be able to attach the symbol to those words, to those sounds. So I'm going to specifically be talking about rhyming today because often I will have teachers and I have parents come to me and say, my child cannot rhyme. And usually when they're talking about rhyming, they're talking about the child being able to produce his or her own rhyme. It's like being able to say nap and sap rhyme. That's actually at the end of the rhyming progression. There's actually 3 steps that lead up to being able to create their own rhymes. So we're going to look at those 3 different steps to rhyming. We're going to start with looking at an activity for rhyme recognition. That's when students are able to hear that words rhyme or don't rhyme. Then we're going to look at rhyme completion. That's being able to hear a rhyming pattern and then being able to supply a word that fits into that rhyming pattern. And then the third is rhyme production, where students are then able to generate their own rhyming words. Okay, so we're going to utilize the text Phonological Awareness, Assessments, Tools, and Strategies. We're going to utilize this for activities to use, okay? And it follows all of the progression of phonological awareness skills, okay? So I'm gonna ask my son Joshua to come help me out with some of these activities. Come on over, Joshua. Okay, so this is Joshua. Joshua's gonna help me do these rhyming activities. So we're gonna start with the first rhyming skill, okay? And that would be being able to recognize, rhyme recognition, okay? So we're going to pretend like we're playing baseball, okay? And I'm going to pretend, toss, or pitch you 3 words. 2 out of those 3 words will rhyme. 1 won't rhyme. When you hear the word that doesn't rhyme, you'll say the word and say, "You're out," because it doesn't rhyme. You're like the umpire, okay? So let's practice it. So I want you to remember that rhyming words are words that have the same sound at the end. They end with the same chunk, okay? That sounds the same. So I'll give you an example of some rhyming words. Pack, tack, sack. Those all rhyme because they end with ack, with that same chunk, okay? So let's try an easy practice one together. Okay, ready? I'm going to toss it to you. Hit, sit, fan.
Fan, you're out.
You're out. Fan doesn't rhyme. Okay, hit and sit.
Do.
They do because why?
Because they have the same sound at the end. They have the it.
That's
family
right.
at the end.
Right, they have the same sound at the end. Okay, let's try another one. This one's a little trickier. Okay, I'm going to toss the words to you. Sit, stop, fit.
Stop, you're out.
Stop, you're out. Stop doesn't rhyme. Okay, listen to this one. Bet, set, up.
Up, you're out.
Up does not fit. It's out because it doesn't have the same ending sound as bet and set. Okay, so we would continue to progress through 3 words, 2 rhyming and 1 obviously not rhyming, and we can talk throughout that process about why they rhyme and why they don't rhyme, because they have the same ending sound. Okay, so that's rhyme recognition, being able to identify when words rhyme. Okay, so the next skill in our progression is rhyme completion, where I've set up a rhyme and they finish it. Okay, so the activity we're going to use for this is called I'm thinking of a word. We're going to use some pictures to help out with this. Joshua's going to have some pictures in front of him that is going to kind of help make this kind of abstract activity a little bit more concrete. So he's going to have these pictures in front of him and he's going to use them to help complete a rhyme. Okay, so he's got a picture for dog. Joshua, this is pot, key, fish, coat, and soap. Okay, so we're going to see if you can finish this rhyme for me or complete this rhyme. Okay, so listen. I'm thinking of a word. It rhymes with dot. It's used for cooking food. The word is
pot.
That's right, pot. Good. And Joshua has a picture of a pot. And so these are pictures. There's no words in front of them. Phonological awareness activities can be done even with our eyes closed if we needed to, because we don't need to see letters or words. We're just manipulating sounds, okay? Or parts of words, okay? So let's do another rhyme. Let's see if you can complete it. I'm thinking of a word. It rhymes with rope. It washes off dirt. The word is
soap.
Good, soap. Okay, so rope and soap rhyme because they have the same ending sound, that same chunk at the end. Okay, let's do one more. I'm thinking of a word. It rhymes with boat. You wear it when it's cold. The word is
coat.
Good job. Okay, so we would progress through those rhymes, giving Joshua the opportunity to be able to complete the rhyme and talk about, from time to time, why it was a rhyming word. Okay, so next.
So we're stopping there. And returning to our slide. Leading up to the activities in this video, Joshua probably had many opportunities, for instance, to look at 2 or 3 pictures and determine whether or not the pictured items rhyme. Pictures are helpful manipulatives because having a child look at pictures involves visual skills as well as auditory skills, making the activity multisensory. There are many rhyming videos and games online. Some links can be found on the Dyslexia Initiative website. As we have noted before, we are not advocating for any particular program. There are many fine resources available to you online. Dr. Sally Shaywitz, co-director for the Yale Center for Dyslexia and Creativity, states in her 2020 edition of Overcoming Dyslexia by age 6 or so, when most boys and girls are able to judge if 2 words rhyme, dyslexic children may still not be able to demonstrate that they detect rhyme. She continues by saying, British researchers compared a group of children with reading difficulties to a group of younger children who read well. Each child was asked to listen to a list of words such as fun, pin, bun, and gun, and then select which word did not belong. Here, the reading disabled child's troubles with rhymes became apparent. Although several years older, the poor readers experienced much more trouble choosing which word in the list did not rhyme. Thanks to the findings of neuroscience, we have learned that phonological awareness is essential for reading success. In the last 2 sessions, we have discussed several foundational phonological awareness skills. We talked about providing children with lots of exposure to oral rhyming and alliteration. We discussed the importance of having them notice and play with spoken words and sentences. We addressed the need to help children detect and manipulate syllables. We emphasized that detecting and manipulating onsets and rhymes can be challenging for many children. We also talked about how recognizing whether or not words rhyme and completing rhymes can also be difficult for large numbers of children. Should you be interested in learning more about phonological awareness skills, here is our list of recommendations for you to consider. You can visit the links on the Dyslexia Initiative website. That's www.thedyslexiainitiative.org/the parent sessions, where you will also find recordings of our previous sessions and suggested websites you might like to check out. Talk, read, and sing to your child as often as possible. Nursery rhymes, poetry, alliterative stories. And for fun, play Onset and Rhyme rhyming games. I can't believe we're almost near the end here. Session went by fast today. In our next two sessions, we will start a comprehensive presentation on phonemic awareness, which is the most complex and also the most critical skill for future reading success. In our at the beginning series, we will introduce important initial phonemic awareness skills and share activities you can do with your child at home to develop these skills. Parent Session 10, Part 1 on phonemic awareness is scheduled for this coming Tuesday at a regular time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but that's next week on March 2nd, 2021. Then, Parent Session 11, Part 2, will be broadcast 2 weeks after that on March 16th. Well, it's time to chat. This is another of our favorite parts of every parent session. It's during this time that we can get to know each other, and you can make comments or ask questions about today's session or previous meetings while you're typing. I wonder, Ashley, could you please share a few more of the locations where participants are watching?
I did see Ohio. I can't, Facebook's for some reason, it's not letting me scroll back up that far in the comments, but I did see Ohio as well. And Virginia, I did see Virginia too.
Fantastic. Okay, here we are. Now this is your time to ask questions, get some of your questions answered, share your concerns. Maybe we can help out a little bit.
One of the questions was to repeat the name of the book. It looks like it was Phonological Awareness by Yvette. I'm not going to try to say her last name because I'm going to say it wrong. Zgonc. Can you confirm the name of the book?
That the mother was using?
Yes.
You know what? What I can do is I can go back and we can start that video again. I didn't jot it down, but I think we can fix that. Let's take a look. We'll go back to the start and scroll forward a little bit. To where she holds up the book. I can find that. Just a minute. There it is. Let's see. I'll move back a little bit and let's see if we can figure out what she said.
Rhyming words. Okay. So we're going to utilize the text Phonological Awareness, Assessments, Tools, and Strategies.
Phonological Awareness, Assessment, Tools, and Strategies.
Yes. Another question, and this one's a good one. Are we going to look to translate any of this into Spanish?
It is a good question, and I believe there is a way for us to do that. One of the things that I can also do is to share our script, and it can be then it can be translated into Spanish. If this person would message us, either message you, Ashley, or me through Facebook, we can probably figure out a way of making that happen.
And by the way, the question came from Argentina.
Well, there you go. All of the work that we're doing is for free and for everyone's benefit. So we're not holding anything back, and we're certainly not doing this to make money. We want to help you. And as this person from Argentina probably already knows, the science is good no matter what your language. So it holds true whether you're living in Argentina or Russia or in Africa. The same principles, as long as we're working with an alphabetic system, right? Phonetic system. This is going to work for you. Okay.
Well, and Monica, we can look into that and see if there's an app that we can use that can provide subtitles for translations while we're live. That's something that definitely we can take a look at.
That'd be great.
Yeah. We're not, for all of our fanfare, the leaders at DI are not quite as tech savvy as we might appear that we are, but we're not afraid to pave new paths when it comes to technology for what we're trying to do.
Right. It's important.
It is. Boston, Dallas, Texas, Nova Scotia are some additional locations. I'm not seeing, Facebook's not cooperating with me from a comment perspective. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions. Is there anything y'all wanted to focus on?
Well, I think that, as we were preparing for this session and the next two upcoming, we really had several discussions on the importance of rhyming. And so I'm hoping that maybe one of our panel members might expand on that idea.
You want me to?
Yes, please.
I think what we talked about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the reason that it can be challenging for many youngsters is because it is the ending chunk or part of the word. And children tend to process the beginning part of a word more readily. So the ending is difficult and requires a lot of practice. And I think the other thing is the example with the onset rhyme was so powerful in that it wasn't rhyming, but the teaching was so powerful in that she modeled, she did it with the child, then the child tried it on her own. And if there was a problem, she backed up. So I think we have to recognize that this might not be a skill that's picked up the very first time. It's, for some children, very, very challenging.
I might add that before the research came out, and when I was a young parent, I always heard it was fun to read rhyming books that rhyme. And there were books out there, but I did not have the understanding of the importance. I thought it was just the enjoyment. And I think spending this whole session on onset rhymes and the rhyming ability, it says a lot for the importance of it and what we have discovered to spend this session, a whole session on this and more. So I think that's what I wanted to add, is that the awareness of the importance of this for future success in reading is something that we just did not know for so many years, and it's crucial.
Well, no more questions? Doesn't have to do with rhyming.
Sorry, I'm like muted over here. Monica made a comment that she thinks the phonetic structure in English is what makes it a bit more difficult. What are your thoughts?
Personally, let me just say, from the research, we know that if children are taught well from the beginning, from the time. I'm not going to go there with parents because parents, we're doing the best we can, and we're really busy. This is not when we make these presentations, we don't want any parents to feel bad, like, oh, I didn't read enough rhyming nursery rhymes, or I should have picked out some alliterative books for my child and read to them more. We know that in school and given when a child is in school, excuse me, if they are taught these skills, these teachable skills from the time they enter even kindergarten, that we know that within that first 2 years, and that at the end of first grade, 95% of our children would be reading on grade level. It's not just about instruction. The reason that the issue here is that it's kind of a myth that English is just so irregular, that it's just a crazy language and it's really hard to learn. But what turns out, as it turns out, English is 95% of English words are phonetically decodable. What Louisa Moats tells us is that the reason there are issues is that we have only 26 letters in our alphabet, but 44 different sounds. And for each of those sounds, there can be multiple ways of spelling a sound. For example, the sound ch is spelled 2 different ways, ch and tch. But these spellings, the sounds, the spellings that go with them, are all teachable given the correct sequence of skills, given a strong foundation in phonics. That's what we're working on now, right? We're developing all of those foundational skills that children need to know and do to be able to understand phonics. So, no, it's not that hard for children to learn to read if they have been provided with the foundational skills they need to learn phonics, and then when they are taught phonics, that they are taught in a sequential, systematic fashion, so that these skills can be mastered. It's just a matter of the what and the how. So how did I do, experts? Did I say
well,
that?
I was wondering, is she referring to phonics per se with her comment, or phonemic awareness?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
Because the sounds are sounds. There's no spellings attached to the sounds when you're doing phonemic awareness. So I wasn't sure, and I don't know what her name is, but maybe she could clarify. Is she talking about phonemic awareness and the sound of spoken language, or is she talking about English being the English language being more difficult when it comes to the phonics piece?
So do we have a follow-up question, Ashley, or comment?
Yes, we do. Carla asked, if the child has apraxia, language processing or processing in addition to dyslexia, will it change how phonetics are taught?
So her question had to do with phonetics rather than phonemic awareness. Okay. And I can't answer that question. I don't know what the other disability that she has referred to. Maybe
I'm not familiar either.
Marilyn, are you familiar with it at all?
I'm not, but I think we need to be clear about what we teach in school. We teach, hopefully, that the philological awareness part, in other words, helping children to notice the sound of language. And then we move to the phonics part, which is, the relationship between the sound and the letters. So the term phonetics, I guess I need to know a little bit more about what our listener is referring to there when she says phonetics.
Well, another question we have is from Dina. Dina said, please guide me how to teach my child blending CVC words. And she also asked, also do blending and teaching red words go hand in hand?
Red words.
What are red words? Is that a program?
Maybe high frequency words, possibly.
Possibly, she's not clarified.
Okay. Well, blending CVC words, we'll get to that when we start talking about phonics.
Phonics.
Yeah. Which would be in a month or so.
Probably. She clarified it is sight words.
Sight words, okay.
So I think one thing that y'all have done very well in these couple of sessions is, that there is a strong difference between phonological awareness and phonemic awareness, and you've been stressing the phonological awareness component. And when y'all get to phonemic awareness, it's going to help a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think answer some of the questions that are coming in.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that if a child is having difficulty with CVC words, that could be an indication that so let's assume that this child can rhyme, right? So we're going to back up. Let's assume this child can recognize and maybe even produce their own rhymes. But then the next level, which is where we're going next week, is phonemic awareness. It's much more, it's more complex. And if you're unable to break the individual sounds in words, and we're talking about CVC words as well, if you can't break them apart and play with them, take off the first sound, or say the word, take off the last sound, or the hardest piece is identifying the middle sounds in words, then for that child, I think blending CVC words would be difficult. So I would be playing with, if I was a parent, working on phonemic awareness. Join us next week. We'll get started on that, and that may be where part of the issue lies. Mm-hmm. Or you may find that it could be an issue somewhere before rhyming. There could be some onset rhyme issues. I would be watching our previous videos and playing some games with your child to figure out exactly where they are. All those pre-blending skills.
We also had some clarification on the red words. It's words that are phonetically irregular.
Right.
Okay.
So not necessarily sight words, it's just the portion of words that are phonetically irregular.
Right.
So those words are usually memorized.
Yep.
Right.
And just for clarification, Marvi and Ashley, I looked up phonetics, and it's actually a branch of linguistics that studies how humans produce and perceive sounds. So it's really a university type course. And you hear it used a lot, but actually in elementary school, we study the sound structure of language, i.e. phonological awareness. And we're leading up to the highest level of that phonological awareness piece next week, namely phonemic awareness. And then we'll be ready for phonics, which is when we connect letters and sounds. So I think these foundational skills that we've been talking about, they're just so important. Hence the reason we spend so much time on them.
And to clarify for everybody, because the word apraxia came up.
Yeah.
Apraxia is difficulty with skilled movements, even when the person has the ability and desire to do them.
Oh, okay.
The brain is unable to make and deliver correct movement instructions to the body. One type of apraxia affects speech. The brain struggles with lip, jaw, and tongue movements. Other types affect the accuracy of limb movements, response to verbal commands, and facial movements such as winking. Treatment may include physical, speech, and occupational therapy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's definitely an area where we are definitely not experts, but a speech pathologist, I'm sure probably your child is getting that help. And also speech pathologists also work on phonological awareness skills.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that. And maybe if a child isn't able to produce the sound, they can still work on being able to hear the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And how exactly that would happen, I'm not sure.
I also like following Jordan, who has a page on Facebook called Fighting for My Voice, My Life with Verbal Apraxia. He was told, or his parents were told, that he would never speak at all. He's a young man. He's just recently completed college. He does Facebook Lives all of the time. And he's trying to break down a lot of the barriers and stigma around verbal apraxia. So if anybody has any interest in that, again, the name of his page is Fighting for My Voice, My Life with Verbal Apraxia. He's a precious young man. Precious. I love watching his Facebook Lives. They're just so good.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if there are no more questions or comments, and before we leave, I would like to say, if we are, sometimes we'll be unable to answer your questions, but if there are any follow-up questions, if we were to answer a question and it feels incomplete, and we have the knowledge to answer your follow-up questions, please never hesitate to flash back another comment or question, so that because we want to give you as much information as possible. We want to make sure that we've done the best we can to help you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think we're finished for tonight. This is so much fun. We really enjoy spending our time with you. We, like you, have a great deal of passion around the area of reading acquisition and making sure that as many children as we can possibly touch learn to read. So thank you again for joining us. We'll see you back in a week, next Tuesday, and we're going to start our discussion on phonemic awareness. And we look forward to spending our time with you.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thanks. I think you've got a hit in Zoom.
Well, it was great. The people are wonderful,
Oh, absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
Have a great night, Marvy.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.